For some, it's a toy. For others, it's a tool. To put it bluntly, it's a lethal weapon. But above all, it's one of the most popular weapons in history. Welcome back to the channel. Today we answer the extraordinary question: why is the AK-47 so popular? We'll start off with the obvious. It's good. While today, there are plenty of high-tech firearms that can do more, cost more, and look better, none can quite match up to the pure effectiveness of the AK-47. At its heart, the AK-47 fires the 7.62 x 39mm round, a bottlenecked full metal jacket cartridge. Simply put, it fires bullets that can seriously injure or kill enemy combatants, firing at a rate of about 600 rounds per minute. A skilled user can hit targets at around 350 meters while remaining relatively accurate beyond 600 meters. But what really makes the AK-47 stand out is not its raw capability, but rather its consistency, reliability, and ease of use. Compared to many modern guns, the AK-47 is almost alarmingly simple. There are only a few moving parts inside, and as such, it's dramatically easier to keep clean and repair compared to other weapons. This matters a lot when you re a soldier who might be issued a gun, but who probably hasn't received formal training on how to use it. They need a gun that works every time. So across the world, wherever the AK-47 has been used, soldiers have relied on its robustness. Russian soldiers fighting in World War II had relied on guns like the PPSH submachine gun and the M38 rifle. These guns were finicky and unreliable. If they got wet, they often jammed, but the AK-47 would work no matter what. Soldiers in hot, humid jungles or freezing cold wastelands could fire the AK-47 without hesitation. This brings us to another key feature: its price. Unlike many other advanced firearms, the AK-47 was cheap to produce. It could be manufactured quickly and in large quantities, and it didn't require expensive materials or lots of specialists to assemble. In fact, during the Cold War, the Soviets developed a method to produce an AK-47 in under 2 hours using a special stamping machine. This was important for two reasons. First, if you're a superpower like the Soviet Union, you can churn out lots of guns to supply your own army. But more importantly, you can also supply friends and allies. The Soviets gave AK-47s to pretty much anyone they considered an ally, which meant that the gun ended up being used in conflicts all over the world. During the 1950s, AK-47s found their way into conflicts in places like Korea, Vietnam, the Congo, and various locations across Africa. And because of its robustness, ease of use, and sheer power, the AK-47 became legendary. It was during the 1960s and 70s, however, that the AK-47's popularity reached new heights. This was thanks largely to the Vietnam War. The United States had entered the conflict with a huge military and advanced weaponry, including stuff that was brand new like the M16 rifle. On paper, the American weapons were far superior. In practice, however, the Vietnamese, and to a lesser extent, the North Korean troops, often used older weapons like the AK-47 to devastating effect. When U.S. troops arrived in Vietnam, many encountered the AK-47 for the first time. American soldiers knew it as the communist weapon. It became infamous for its ability to fire through helicopters and thick jungle foliage. Its distinctive muzzle brake was said to send out a distinctive puff of smoke that was a telltale sign that you were being fired upon. Back in Russia, the success of the AK-47 led to several improvements and updated versions. But it was the original variant that remained the most popular. This was partly due to availability. As the Cold War heated up, more and more AK-47s were sent to allies and rebels around the world. But it was also because the basic design was perfect. Any upgrades would either make the gun more complicated or expensive to produce, something that the countries who relied on the AK-47 couldn't afford. Today, the AK-47 continues to be produced in large quantities, mostly in Russia, but also in countries like China and North Korea. You can find AK-47s in dozens of countries around the world. And even where it's illegal, the gun has become a potent symbol of rebellion and defiance. In 1999, the Democratic Republic of Congo experienced a horrific conflict that saw rival militias battle for control of the country. The militias wielded machetes and hunting rifles alongside thousands of AK-47s, One aid worker wrote that the AK-47 had become the weapon of choice among the militias. They preferred it because it is a reliable weapon and can easily be obtained. And here we hit upon yet another reason for the AK-47's enduring popularity. It's common. The AK-47 might be cheap and robust, but it's also extremely widespread. Over the decades, millions of AK-47s have gone missing. They've fallen into the hands of criminals, insurgents, and rebel groups. And while some have been replaced, the original has never been surpassed. That means that if you're a soldier fighting against a well-equipped army, chances are you might get your hands on an AK-47. If you in a country where they common, you might even own one yourself. Of course, this does come with negative connotations. As we mentioned earlier, the AK-47 has become synonymous with death and destruction. When the gun was first introduced, it was intended to be used by the Red Army. But as it spread around the world, it fell into the hands of various insurgent groups and criminals. During the 1980s, the AK-47 became infamous in places like El Salvador and Nicaragua, where right-wing militias battled leftist rebels. And it was during the 1990s that the AK-47 became the weapon of choice for drug cartels in places like Mexico. As the cartels grew increasingly violent, the AK-47 was the perfect weapon. Cheap, reliable, and deadly, it allowed the cartels to inflict serious casualties on the Mexican police and army. To many people, the AK-47 remains a mysterious gun. It's a scary, dangerous weapon that's often associated with faraway conflicts. But to those who use it, the AK-47 is just a gun, something that allows them to protect themselves, their families, or their cause. Some would argue that the AK-47 isn't a weapon at all, but rather a tool. For soldiers, a tool to defend themselves. For revolutionaries, a tool to fight back against oppressive forces. And for criminals, a tool to get ahead. Regardless of how you feel about the AK-47, there's no denying its historical importance. It's been used in countless conflicts, taken down countless enemies, and claimed countless lives. It's a weapon that's both feared and respected, hated and revered. When you hear the distinctive click of its bolt or the distinctive sound of its gunfire, you know you're in the presence of something special, something that's changed the face of warfare forever. So what do you think? Is the AK-47 the greatest gun ever made? Or is it just a dangerous weapon that's overrated? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.